Hey there, history seeker. Have you ever heard of witches? You know, those magical people with pointy heads and broomsticks. Some legends say they could cast spells and even fly through the night sky. But long ago, many people believed witches weren't friendly at all. They thought witches were dangerous. This fear led to one of the strangest and saddest chapters in history, the witch hunts. Today we're traveling back in time to learn what really happened. So grab your magic wand, or maybe your thinking cap, and let's explore together. Why did people fear witches? Our story starts in Europe, hundreds of years ago. Life was pretty tough back then. People didn't understand why bad things happened, like storms that ruined crops or sickness that spread through villages. Imagine you're a farmer. One day, a huge storm destroys all your crops. You might think, oh no, what if someone cursed me? And guess who got blamed? Witches. Sometimes people pointed fingers at women who were a little different, like someone who talked to her cat or knew how to make herbal medicine. They'd say she must be a witch. Sounds unfair, doesn't it? Then in 1487 a book called Malleus Maleficarum came along. It means the hammer of witches. And it wasn't a fun book at all. It was more like a guide on how to find and punish witches. This book said witches made deals with the devil and used magic to hurt people. Even worse, it taught people to accuse their neighbors. Can you imagine blaming your friend just because you're scared? What happened during witch trials? Once someone was accused of being a witch, they had to prove they weren't one. But that wasn't easy. They might ask, can you swim in a river without sinking? If you could, they'd say, that's witchcraft. If you couldn't, well, it didn't end well. Does that sound fair to you? It doesn't, right? Yeah, me neither. Some trials were even scarier. People were tortured to make them confess to things they didn't do. It was a very cruel time. Where did witch hunts happen? Witch hunts weren't just in one place. They happened all over Europe. In Germany alone, around 25,000 people were executed. France, Scotland and Switzerland had thousands of cases too. Sometimes all it took was a small rumor to start a big panic. If one person was accused, more accusations followed like a chain reaction. The Salem witch trials. Let's hop across the ocean to America. In 1692, in a small town called Salem, Massachusetts, something very strange happened. Some young girls started acting oddly, screaming, twitching, and fainting. When people asked why, the girls said, "Witches are casting spells on us." Suddenly, everyone in town was accusing each other. Even friends turned on each other. Over 200 people were accused, and sadly, 20 innocent people were executed. Later, the people of Salem realized they had made a terrible mistake. How did witch hunts end? By the 1700s, things started to change. Scientists like Isaac Newton helped people understand the world better. They realized storms and sickness weren't caused by witches. They had natural explanations. Courts also began to demand real evidence before punishing someone. Slowly, the fear of witches faded away. What can we learn? The witch hunts were a time when fear and superstition hurt a lot of innocent people. But we can learn something very important. It's always better to ask questions, understand others, and never judge someone just because they're different. Before we finish, here's a fun fact. Did you know some witches in stories weren't bad at all? In some cultures, witches were healers who helped their communities. Cool, right? Not all witches wore black hats and flew on broomsticks. Some just loved their cats and brewed tea. Thanks for joining me on this magical history adventure. Remember, being curious and kind makes the world a better place. If you liked this story, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more fun history lessons. What should we explore next? Let me know in the comments.